Okay, I would like to call the Facilities Management Transportation meeting to order for Thursday, March the 3rd, 2022. And I will just check if there's any public comment, Drew, before we turn it over.
There is no public comment.
Anybody in the audience? No? Okay. All right, so take it away, Mr. Lally.
Thank you, Mrs. Epstein. We will start this evening with an update on the new middle school with Dewey Engineering and Mr. Jamie Lynch and some exciting news.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'm only showing pictures, no words, no charts. So I figured that would be a good follow-up to Dave's presentation. Today, we got a certificate of occupancy from Plymouth Township for the new Colonial Middle School. So nice milestone to hit. I'll show you a couple of pictures and then just give you a little fill-in. As I'm sure you've heard, over the past couple of weeks, there's been a soft move in process. And between everyone's effort, the teachers have been gradually moving into their classrooms. We've been setting up their classrooms. Contractors have been finishing their classrooms. And so typical classroom is now suited with new furniture, new daylighting as far as windows, HVAC, and teachers have gotten in and started to get ready for school on Monday. So you can go ahead, Dave, if you would. Science classrooms, same drill. They're looking great. Teachers are in. Computers are set up. Projectors are programmed and projecting. And so that is looking good as well. Another classroom follows this. That's the art room. A resinous floor, new sinks, composite tables for the art teachers. There's 2 art classrooms in the new middle school. A couple of things will remain as we go forward, but for instance, in the art classrooms, the kiln remains to be hooked up for play activity. But outside of that, art is ready to go. If we go forward, this is family consumer science. There's 2 family consumer science classrooms. New furniture, counters, ranges. The very last 2 ranges that were ordered, I don't know how long ago, finally showed up. If you tried to order a range for your home, you probably experienced the same issue. But these rooms are set up. There's washers and dryers, a separate room for refrigerators, and so family consumer science is now ready to go. Those were classrooms. Hallways, lockers, classroom doors, room signs, tack boards, very colorful, lots of daylighting in the corridors, lots of variety in the lighting, so looking sharp. A lot of this came together here really in the past 2 weeks. The blue tack board that you see on the right, for instance, they arrived yesterday and were installed throughout the school. So everything really pulled together as far as coming together for today. Okay. Commons area, beautiful 2-story space with a projection area, great 2-story windows that look out to the grassy courtyard, synthetic turf courtyard. Railings are in. There were some interviews that were conducted here this week, and I think that the space really showed off. You'll want to see some of the soft furniture in this space. If you go to the next one, Dave, I think. This is not one of Jim Kiefer's renderings that you saw early on. That's the real thing, and it looks just like the rendering. So in some subsequent presentations, we'll take you back more than 2 years to what the vision was for the school, and hopefully you'll be very impressed. Next slide is the variety of furniture in that commons area. It's a special space for small groups, small work activities, and some fun furniture for the kids to be able to take advantage of. The murals, you have to see the murals, the graphics that are really a tribute to the community and those that serve the community. This is right off of both main entrances at the gym and the main entrance. This is a sight to behold. If you haven't seen it already, I think you'll enjoy the way that this has come out. That's the second floor. This is the first floor. So a lot of good images there, and a great job on the graphics. These graphics here, there's two others that are smaller. They went up in 2 days, if you can believe that. And everyone who knows what the building looked like over the past 2 weeks, when these graphics go up, I always get nervous because the guy who puts them up has to have clean hands. Otherwise, you have fingerprints all over them. We had an expert here, so you'll really be happy with these, and we want to just make sure that we keep them protected for a long time in the building. Believe that, and everyone who knows what the building looked like over the past 2 weeks, when these graphics go up, I always get nervous because the guy who puts them up has to have clean hands. Otherwise, you have fingerprints all over them. We had an expert here, so you'll really be happy with these, and we want to just make sure that we keep them protected for a long time in the building. There's a big gym. Bleachers on both sides, scoreboard operational. I did not provide you tonight with a picture of the auxiliary gym, which abuts this gym. There's a folding partition with a big Colonial logo on it that when it folds down, looks pretty sharp. We have lettering up on the soffit that's above in this picture. Sorry, you don't see it here. But bleachers work, scoreboard works, the basketball goals retract. We're in good shape here. Locker rooms looking sharp, resinous floors, lockers, some good color, restrooms, minimal showers incorporated with the locker rooms. We have team rooms, we have boys' locker rooms, girls' locker rooms. I think you'll be happy with what you see there. And we have a kitchen. Kitchen, as I may have said in prior presentations, was going to be dead last, and it was dead last. The Department of Health came in last Friday and gave us the permit there. The point of service counters were delivered this week. I think with any luck, there might be some smells coming from the kitchen tomorrow, and cooking smells, not other smells. So that's good. And the charge was cafeteria, which abuts this space, clean and ready to go for tomorrow, and I think it will be, and I might have a picture coming up. Oh, there's the kitchen itself. The Ansel test passed. The kitchen folks have been in there already, and we expect that to get loaded up tomorrow. And there's a cafeteria picture in here somewhere. It wouldn't be an occupancy picture without a potty picture, as I'll call it. But the group toilet rooms are set. Resinous floors, obviously sinks and paper products and soap products. And so they are looking good and ready to go. Main office, not a lot of excitement in this one, but the administrators have come over, started to set up, get their offices ready to go, right down to having liners and trash cans. So hopefully it will be as smooth a transition as possible come Monday. Shout out to district technology folks. On the right is a very happy teacher who I ran into today. I'm not sure, but I think he might spend the weekend in his classroom because he's so happy that it has 4 walls instead of 3. And he's got a projector that worked. I put this slide in. Shout out to Drew and his entire crew. We gave them a short period of time to get this building up and running. He started on the 5th of January and said, how will I ever do this? We gave him a hand, and the gentleman in the yellow, Mike Hartney, who's an electrical specialist with us, his help, Drew's crew, the general contractor, pulled it off and got this network up and running. There'll be obviously some bumps along the way that there are with every new building, but it has really come together nicely. So thank you, Drew. Behind closed doors is a new heating and cooling system installed by Myco, and even these rooms have been tidied up and are looking good. Filters have been replaced in equipment. The equipment is essentially running in hand right now. The automated controls vendor Siemens will be actually in the building for the first week or so of operation and in contact with Joe and his team as that system is fully online. It's now in the process of becoming fully automated. So if you go ahead, Dave. All the wonderful stuff that gets engineers excited include the two dual fuel cast iron boilers down in the mechanical room, which are now providing heat for the building. On the right is the fuel oil tank that sits outside behind a screen wall. On the next slide, you'll see one high efficiency gas fired, I'll call it a pony boiler. But as we started up the building, we heated the entire building with this one boiler until we fired the cast iron. So I think you've got an awfully efficient building. You'll recall that you've got a metal sandwich panel insulated building, and it's been quite tight as far as heating load here. If you go to the next, I'm cruising on to electrical. Our service that's in the basement, the new emergency generator that's also out back behind the partition wall, it was tested again today. That was the trigger for our final occupancy permit. So electrical system up and running. Life safety is connected to this generator. That's up and running. Fire alarm system in the building up and running, trouble-free at this point. As we close in on getting kids in the building. We do have some temporary measures just to make sure everybody's aware of. You know, of course, that the existing building remains in place right now, so the staff is parking up where we used to park on the football field in the construction area, so there's a stone lot there that's been laid out with lines, and then there's also this handsome sidewalk and rail system that also has sight lights on it that goes up to that location. So staff will be parking up there, walking down to the building and coming in the back door until we get the building demolished and the parking lots finished for the finished building at the end of the summer. Oh, shucks, I put some words in. So, you know, just an idea on the timeline for existing building demo and the parking construction. In March, we're working with the district team, obviously, to move into the new building and then empty the existing building. We have some abatement left that was unable to be done last summer and interior demo. So quite literally on Monday, the abatement contractor comes in to do targeted abatement, even while Joe is trying to empty the building and after students leave. Also on Tuesday, the demo contractor arrives, and he's going to start with work in the auditorium, and then he removes the actual gym floor in the gym. So on Tuesday, demo is starting. And so we still have our hands full. Having the occupancy certificate is only the beginning of the end, if you will. So Joe and his team have a lot of work to do. Our contractors have a lot to do because obviously we were pushed from Christmas until now, and we're still trying to finish on or about the same timeline. Jim is in the building to finish up putting together the architect's punch list tomorrow and probably into next week. We want to allocate spring break for contractors to come in who have significant punch list work to do that takes, you know, more than a day. But the punch list process will go, you know, across the summer to get final things done. April through June-ish, building demo and removal of some of the piles of soils that you see out there. Just for everyone's edification, we are not imploding the old Colonial Middle School as much as you'd like to. It will be taken down with mechanical machines, and we've got a process out there because the driveway in is the parent driveway. So there will be times where demo is close. The demo contractor, we met with him. He knows the arrival and dismissal schedule. He knows he has to stop working. He knows that arrival or dismissal can't be fogged in by a giant dust plume. All right, so these are the things that we have to deal with as we demo a building.
Can we raffle off chances to swing the wrecking ball?
You want to come out, Chris? Oh, that's the other misnomer. There is not actually a wrecking ball. All right. There's not a swinging wrecking ball. All track mounted machines. I am absolutely, well, I'm not absolutely certain. You could probably tell me. Every building that I've seen come down is also accompanied by members of the community who stand across the street with a tear in the eye because this is where they went to school and they want bricks. So I usually get a request, can I have a Colonial Middle School brick? So we want to make sure we keep the site safe. I usually put a pile someplace where the public has access to it or whatever you would like to do. But these are the things that come with demolition. The summer is going to be chock full of utilities where the building used to be, fill, paving, site lights. You have a bus parking lot out front, and then the staff and visitor parking lot, and we'll go well into October finishing everything and having the fields graded and wrapping up. So that's a little bit about the finishing schedule. And then I think the last slide here says, yes, it's great to have occupancy, but we need to actually finish. So we've done a good job in getting things done, but there is a list of things, it's a little longer than this, of items that still have to be finished. At the top of the list will be the architect's punch list, which I'm sure you're familiar with from other projects. One thing that lagged because of supply chain issues is audio-visual in the auditorium, music rooms, and cafeteria. So these are sound systems, projector systems. A lot of that equipment is actually on site. We're looking for the contractor to come in and do those installs. So spring break is one of the big targets, or if we get weekend or evening time, we got to make our schedule in order to get it in. We've worked with the district to try to identify where there were, whether it was shows or events, to make sure that they're scheduled if they can in the middle school or at other locations in the district. So I know that that's in the works. Things like we have incidental doors and door hardware. Door hardware was a problem. I think I've reported on that since about November. They did pretty well. Penn Builders was pretty successful. The gym doors don't have hardware on the outside. They have push bars on the inside. And right now they don't have door glass. That's coming in the next several weeks. Pretty much it swings. It swings right now.
It's the cleanest glass you've ever seen.
It's lolly glass. There you go. Low voltage communication enhancement systems. These are really minor items, but we're finishing the repeater system for cell phones. A repeater system has been installed for the district walkie-talkies. And so we're working on those types of systems. Completion of exterior security cameras will be ongoing. They get mounted to the outside of the building. On the inside, most of the cameras are mounted, and the vendor who's activating them is presently on site. So the interior cameras for Tim McDonald will go active here within the next couple of days. We have to adjust the lighting control system so that we know what lights operate on what kind of timing system and what happens in the evening as far as turning lights off. We'll commission the cooling system in the spring when the cooling season arrives. The automatic temperature controls are coming online gradually. It will be over the next month or so and working directly with Joe's crew. We have some rooms that need to be set up. Like the tech ed classrooms. We have tech ed rooms that are computer-based, and so those PCs get installed and up and running. And then there's tech ed that is essentially the carpentry shop. That's in this not this building, in the existing building now. It needs to be moved over and then connected to the new dust collector. So that's something that will be happening over the next several weeks. And we're working on getting the card access system complete. This is another system that requires a Mercury card, and the Mercury card is the supply chain bugaboo. So you've probably heard me talk about that from time to time, or any of the administrators who you've been chatting with. So there's a list. This is a soft opening. I think we've been pretty successful in getting everything to a point where it definitely looks complete. Please bear with as everybody moves in, everybody gets the lay of the land. It's like coming into a new house. You just have to figure out how things work. You have to figure out where things might not work and if there's any adjustments that need to be made. But we'll be there.
So we met with Dewey and with the builders earlier this week. The all the primes and to wrap up before the board asks questions. We first asked what safety and security measures need to be completed before we move in, and we have checked all those boxes. So we have do we need card access in some places? We do, but we have locks in their place and we have personnel to man those areas. What do we need operationally? Cafeteria has to be working, facilities have to be available, restrooms, egress, all those things. So operationally, we're good to go. The food service staff will be in there tomorrow practicing on the equipment so that they're ready to go for Monday. And then lastly, what do we need instructionally to make sure that we continue moving forward with our program? So the teachers have been fantastic about teaching in their current rooms, but then moving over all of the supplies they would need and instructional materials they would need. And they've been, if you've seen it every day for the past 2 weeks, the teachers have been in the building working in their rooms, getting ready to go to welcome kids on Monday. Those have been the 3 guiding pieces with our meetings with KCBA, with Dewey. And lastly, we really have to compliment our facilities team, our custodians, our turf crew. They have been working their tails off 7 days a week, not 5, 7 days a week, led by Joe Lally to my left. Just outstanding work. In fact, Bob Fowler and Sean Kaplan joined them last week, and Joe took pictures of them moving tables and chairs for 8 hours a piece on Saturday and Sunday. So many hands make the work lighter. And but Joe has just, and his team, Nate Barone, and the whole turf crew and custodial team, these men and women have just done a phenomenal job taking care of our faculty, making sure that the building is ready to go. And those of you who have seen it recently, it even looks better. It looks better every day. And Joe treats this building as if it was his home. And that's the best compliment that I can give him.
Thank you, Dr. Christian.
Mr. Lally, you look tired.
I am very tired. Sorry. I am awake, though. I apologize.
How many
It's going to be
boxes?
5:45 is early, but that's when I get here.
How many boxes did your crew move over?
We actually stopped counting at some point. You know, we were trying to keep track early just to get an idea of how far along we were going, but that probably wasn't a good idea because I don't think we could keep up. But I can only second what Dr. Christian said. You know, a lot of people playing major roles in this. Our entire maintenance staff has been there every day along with the turf crew. And it's been challenging because spring sports start next week. So we have 2 turf guys lining fields and there's a lot of other things and 7 other buildings to take care of. So that whole crew is what's really making this happen. They've all done a phenomenal job.
So when the kids move in on Monday, what is there that they're going to say, oh, that's not done? Is there anything that the kids are going to be
Sure.
aware of that,
There'll be some doors missing handles that are taped shut that open
Okay.
up. There will be, nothing significant. Could there be a ceiling tile here and there that's not in? Yes. The sound system in the auditorium, some of the things that Jamie mentioned. So we talked with the faculty about what are the things that have to be done immediately, right? They're just not complete yet. And so they'll be addressed. For example, Siemens will continue to work with HVAC, balancing the system. And then there are punch list items, as always, that things will need to be done after the children are gone for the day or on the weekends or in the summer. So the list, depending upon who you ask, the list is certain length, right? Because the list contains the needs and the musts, but it also has a lot of why we really like this too. And that list is secondary to the stuff that has to get done.
Yeah, no, I'm only asking about things that, my kid comes home on Monday and says, this thing, there was this, hole in the wall in my room. Is there anything major that the kids are going to be aware of?
So the carpentry shop
Yeah.
is the only room not available for education because the equipment hasn't been moved yet.
Right. Well, we have a plan
Every-
for these kids. They'll go in the computer assistant.
What's that?
But they actually have a theory room for computers that is prepared for them.
Okay.
So there's two parts of that. So they actually do have. the
Maybe some
computer
glass and
portion.
some doors that we have to, and some,
The tech lab, the PCs have to come over yet, but
Yeah.
those rooms are occupiable. There's tables and chairs in them, right? So that's an in-process thing. There's not a room that I can think of where, oh my goodness, what is that? I'm not aware of that room.
we've walked it every
I'm
day.
not aware of that room.
Okay, that's,
You know,
Teachers
there's
still have a
not,
lot of unpacking to do, but no,
So
they're
there
are
was-
the majority of teachers
they're
pretty
ready.
set to go?
it's full of gear.
Okay.
I can't compliment the staff enough. I think they've been excellent. The teachers have done more than their share. They've helped out, been very pleasant, and the experience has been good. And it's, you know, you see them walking up and going up the path every day with boxes, and some wheeling them on chairs, and you know, so you might see a turf guy, a maintenance guy, a custodian, then a teacher, and a turf guy, and then a teacher. So it really is a team.
But have you seen a superintendent moving boxes?
I have. I've seen him plenty.
Oh, sure.
Yes, I have.
The light ones.
I was just going to add, I mean, awesome job, and having the opportunity yesterday to walk through to your questions too. I don't think they're going to care. They're not going to notice anything that's unfinished, because when you walk in, you're just in awe, and just walk. Like, I didn't notice the gym doors until Dr. Christian pointed it out. So it's like, yeah, if you just put, he put his hand through, and then I realized, oh, there's no glass, but I didn't notice it.
When I was there, I noticed that there were no railings from the second, and out.
Oh, no, they're all in.
Oh, no.
They're all in.
There you go.
No, I think they're gonna jump for joy. I did have a question about the content, and this probably was discussed before I was on the board. So the content in the existing building that's salvageable, what is happening with that?
So there's a couple different sites that we've gone to and put it up for essentially purchase. And then if it's not purchased, at least at a minimum, somebody pick it up and take it away at no cost. So that could be anywhere for anything that we're not salvaging and repurposing. Then we'll do it. And we have reached out to other districts that could be in need. So if they need desks and those types of things. So Joe and his staff have been on multiple websites publishing what we have available. And then obviously anything that's sold will go back to the district's general fund and through Dave. And then if there's districts in need that need equipment and have interest in it, if they're willing to come pick it up, we will be very amenable to help them remove it.
Okay, that's great, thank you. So it would be district needs first, and then would it be offered to the public as well, or?
Not the
just
public.
district? Just the
No,
district.
not the public. We think there's a few districts that may have some needs. The challenge with that is, some of the sites that Joe's working with, there's a lot of inventory up on those already. So there might not be very many requests. So we'll make sure anything that needs to be recycled, it is, or appropriately disposed of.
All right, thank you.
And we are working with food service. They are putting their equipment on some sites too. Doing the same thing as Dr. Christian said, whether it's a need item for us or whether there's another district, and then looking at sites. And as Dr. Christian said, worst case scenario, someone can come pick it up.
And I just want to say, again, the kids are so excited. I would love to know attendance rates on Monday. Like, I'm thinking you're going to be close to 100% attendance. Yeah.
So, yeah, we're hoping for great weather, and Mrs. Lester and Mrs. Newell will be there all day. We'll all be there all day. We've invited the whole central office to come over and assist, helping kids get to their classes, those types of things. There's been videos put together, shared with families about the new traffic patterns, temporary traffic patterns. But we'll be documenting the excitement of the faculty and students and come back and make sure we put a presentation together for the board and the community.
High of 74 on Monday.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It might be hard to get the kids to concentrate on Monday in class.
Uh-oh, Joe, the chiller.
I have 74. No tie Monday. I love it.
And then lastly, we thanked a whole bunch of people, but Bill Hambley from Dewey Engineering deserves a big help. a thank you, rather. He's the guy that's on the ground all the time for Dewey. He and I talk, probably 10, 12 times a day. I'm not exaggerating. So Bill's been excellent, and we wouldn't be here without him either.
Also, Plymouth Township as well, another thank you to them, from the township management to the officials who approved the project, to the code officials who really have worked with us from day one, and so that made the job today rather easy. Also, Plymouth Township Police and all of the fire personnel who've gone through with Tim from a public safety standpoint, have gotten familiar with the building, how the building works, evacuation plans. They're familiar with the door numbers that you'll see on the outside of the building, so that in the event of an event, they will know where to go. They've been very active, more so than many other places that I've been. I mean, we've had the full component of their staff in numerous times now. So they've been a big asset to us and also to you as far as making things safe around the community.
Have we had any feedback, negative or positive, from the neighbors?
No, we have some concerns for sure from a couple of residents, but I wouldn't call the feedback negative. So there's some things that we're going to meet with a couple of people and address, but I wouldn't call them negative, just concerns.
The residents have been a great asset. That I gave out my cell phone number to them, and they did not hesitate to use it. But as an example, during the coldest days when we started the boilers up, there was a Monday morning, where I got a series of texts from neighbors and said, "What is that noise?" And there was a high-pitched noise that was coming from the building. We went to take a look, and it was coming from the boiler flue. And it was something that we could work with the manufacturer and very rapidly remedy. And first, they did not say, "Jamie, you woke me up." They were like, "Just want to let you know, if you didn't know already, that there's this noise, and we can hear it from our homes, and anything you could do, that'd be great." And we went right to work. Bill went to work. They figured it out. We got back to the neighbors, and every time something like that has happened, they've reported. We've tried to get back to them, and they've been super grateful. So shout out to them. I mean, that started with everything that Dr. Christian set up as far as the community awareness when we were in design. And so it's worked really well, I think.
Sorry, we're looking for a plug for Dave.
Just out of curiosity, when they do the first fire drill with the kids in the new building, like, I can't even wrap my head around what that might even look like.
So
Yeah, we have it all mapped out where they have to go, staging areas. So you have to have one per month. Yeah, they all go. They have to go with the class they're assigned to. We take attendance in each area, and they all have designated spots to go. And it'll change as we demolish the other building, but we have temporary places for them to go for the next 3 months.
So one thing, just to Sue's question again, is what will you see where they're like, look at that. So you go to the front of the building, and what do? You put sod in the front of the building so it greened up, right? But we didn't do that in the back of the building. The area's been seeded, and you'll see that there's straw, like there was in the picture, all across the back. So our buses loop around the building. We have little feet that'll be out there as well. That's one thing from an appearance standpoint. I need spring to come. 74 on Monday will help. But we need that grass to come, and it'll have to be overseeded again as we go, and it'll have to be brought along. So it'll get beat up back there with the buses and everything running back there, and then we'll have to work on it over the summer to get it greened up.
okay, if there's no more questions, thank you, Mr. Lynch, Mr. Kiefer.
Thank you.
That's the update on the new middle school. The next item on the agenda is a couple of updates on the Conshohocken project for the HVAC and roof bid replacement. On the 10th of February, we opened up several bids for our upper roof replacement and the lower connecting roof replacement at Conshohocken Elementary. And we were happy with 7 bidders in a competitive bidding process. And we will be looking to move forward at the March meeting to approve Jotten Roofing for $827,000, $827,089 for the award for the upper roof and the connecting roof at Conshohocken Elementary. This project is identified on the 5-year capital plan and is budgeted at $825,000. So that's a really competitive and good bid and good number that we have there, and we're very happy with it. As some of you may recall, there was an HVAC portion of that project where the issue is not only the age of the condensing units that are on the roof, but the actual fact that they use a refrigerant called R22, and R22 is being phased out by the EPA and will no longer be available. So we were looking to replace those units at the same time. Unfortunately, we did not get as friendly of a bid on that, and I'm going to ask the board to reject that bid. We budgeted $475,000, and our low bid was $745,000. So we have a very good option, in our opinion, to actually do what we call pump down the refrigerant in the units. We can then remove the units, take the units off the roof, and when the roof is done, we'll put the old units back up. In speaking with the engineer and the people that we worked with to bid the project, multiple things could have played into that number being higher, one of them being the timing. But two, probably more critical, was probably that we looked for specific manufacturers that were going to have the units for us. So we kind of ended up locking into one person because we wanted to know who can give us those 26 units. Is it Carrier? Is it York? So LG said we can have them, but you're kind of at their mercy at that point. So it's really just a bump in the road for us that will move the project into next year, into the 5-year capital. We'll take a look with Mr. Zablowski and Dr. Christian to see if we can put something else in its place for this year that we can get done, and we'll look to do it again the following summer. But the recommendation from the engineering firm is to put it out to bid in October, so once school starts the following year. So a lot of HVAC mechanics get their bids, their summer work rather, put together in the beginning of the school year, the beginning of July, the end of the previous summer, they set up their following summer's work. So all them things could have played to it, but a little bit disappointing, but the reality is I think we'll be able to get it done, and it won't impact anything for the school as far as getting us watertight in the building and providing air conditioning in the school. So again, we would look to put the roofing portion in front of the board for approval in March. Is there any questions? Great. So the last item is, well, I shouldn't say the last, there's one more. The next item is Colonial Drive and Flowertown Road traffic. Tim McDonald and myself, we did sit down with Chief Ward and just review the project of the traffic light there and what's going on there. And it is in the process. It is approved. They are moving forward with it. They are looking at what's going to happen is they have to widen the road too. So it's a little bit more complicated than just the light, because they will then put a left-hand turn signal in on one side. Obviously, on the other side, you wouldn't need it because you're going right. So if you're actually heading west on Flowertown, there'll be a left-hand turn signal. So the road will be widened. So, but the chief did let us know that he's aware of the situation, and the only thing he could recommend for us at the moment that would make most sense is that if no one felt safe going out Flowertown Road, to go out Germantown. And he said, and then eventually, obviously, we'll have the traffic light, and that'll give us more options. But we did sit down and review any potential options with them, and that's pretty much what we can come up with because the project is in the works.
What's the time frame?
Excuse me?
Time frame on the traffic light?
It says it's really difficult to say, Gail, because they got PennDOT roads and they have local roads. So it says 2022. So that's the hope, is that it gets done in this actual year, and that's their goal. But with other entities that could hold it up or ask more questions, I would just say that's tentative.
So PennDOT is responsible for widening the road as well as the traffic light, correct?
Again, it's complicated from the extent that when you're adding a light, like Flowertown Road, it'd be White Marshes Road. But the connecting roads, Germantown and Joshua and Butler, all those lights get impacted by that one light. So that now draws PennDOT into it, right? So there's a whole traffic study that happens before they just put a light up and send cars around. So
my question, and I have brought this up before, and just remind me, please. There's obviously only two ways out of our campus. Why is there not an exit from the west gym to go right onto Germantown? Why is it an enter only and that people can't go right out there?
yeah, so Germantown Pike being different than obviously Flowertown, that's a PennDOT road. So that's a PennDOT that we can't go out on Germantown Pike there and have too many exits from the school. That has nothing to do with White Marsh, and we've looked into that.
Crazy.
And it was lane traffic in and traffic out,
Okay.
and so
Even
again,
if we were
it's
to widen that,
the number of vehicles. We looked at all that, if you
okay.
remember.
We looked at-
That's what I couldn't remember. I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah,
talking
we
about
looked
it, but
at
I
it
didn't.
when we did the renovations to the high school.
We did,
And there was
Because it makes
no,
everybody go out those other two.
right.
there's no way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I don't know that it's uncommon if you look at any high school with a lot of buses and a lot of student drivers, that dismissal just needs to be patient and take time. Yeah, I just think that's probably the best message we can give for now until we can, get the light and have another option. Okay. If there's no more questions there, I just didn't know if you had a transportation update, Mr. Zabowski?
Very brief. We're still looking for bus drivers. First student let us know Friday that we have one bus driver that's going for the test this week. So we should have a new CDL driver next week to start driving. So making progress, one down, probably 14 to go.
So I think White Marsh Township Day is in April. Maybe first student would want to have a table there. I mean, I don't know.
We'll
if
definitely
that'll
let them
help.
know.
Yeah, we've invited them.
Yeah. I spoke with Tom Blumstrom about that before, and I'll bring it up again. And then we did tell Mike over at First Student that they could do it, but
Yeah, they did it last year. We invited them
Yeah.
again this year.
Mhm.
We also put together Christopher and Dave put together an in-house committee. Now that the middle school's practically finished, we can turn our attentions to it. Just a think tank to come up with more ideas to generate more drivers. If that means hosting more events here, get people out just as, get some foot traffic. So we're going to be working on that in every spring event that we possibly have, see if we can invite First Student to come out and help advertise. This is going to be a challenge for every school district for at least the next 3 to 5 years.
My husband was on the phone with someone who has a CDL license but doesn't use it currently, and he said that no less than 3 calls a day he gets.
Yeah, just go to the new Amazon stores in Conshohocken and East Norton, Last Mile stores. They have ads out for CDL drivers, so we're competing with a lot of different entities, let alone other school districts.
if there's no more questions, that is the last item on tonight's agenda.
Any other public comment? Drew?
There is none at this time.
Okay. Any board questions or comments? Okay.
Just once again, Joe, thank you. We
Yes.
can't thank you enough. I know you've been 7 days a week at the middle school, so thank you and your team, your crew for everything.
I will make sure they know how thankful everyone is. Thank you.
All right. This meeting is adjourned.